All right, guys, starting with Illustrator, I'm going to go File, New, and this is creating your native symbology artwork. And on Illustrator, there's really no 15 by 15 preset, so we're going to just change the units to inches. It might be on points or picas, sorry, and then make it inches. I'm going to make it 15 by 15, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's landscape or portrait because essentially it's a square, okay? The other information you don't have to worry about. Just press OK, and you'll have a nice blank 15 by 15. Now, because the substrate's black, I always tell students to create a new layer, and on the bottom layer, just grab a rectangle. So I'm using the rectangle tool. If it's not there, click and hold the button because there's other tools available. And there's a few ways to do this. I can just click once the rectangle tool, and I can actually type in 15 by 15. Okay. Right now, my default inside fill color is white, and my stroke color is black. So what I can do here is swap it, and then tell the stroke, notice how the stroke's on top now, and get rid of the stroke color, so it's just black. Now, I can use my move tool, or sorry, selection tool, and move the object, and it should snap into place. Okay. Another way of doing it is getting the rectangle tool, clicking and dragging a square to the page confines. Okay. You pick and choose. Me personally, I think picking a 15 by 15 square and putting it in the center is perfect. Okay, so awesome. I got this layer here, and I'll call this black or substrate or material. And what I'm going to do here is lock it. It's that little lock key, lock mechanism. It's telling me now that I can't select anything on this layer. It's locked. And that's a good thing because I actually want to design on layer 2 my graphics. Okay? So I'm going to place, going File, Place, and there's my image on my desktop. I'm going to place it. All right, so check this out. I'm going to select the object, and there's this cool feature, and I don't think most people know about it. It's called the image trace. Essentially, guys, this is a bitmap. As I go closer and closer, you can see that it is comprised of small little squares. Okay. I want to make this a vector. Essentially, a vector is a mathematical shape defined by its lines. So if I create this shape here, and I finish where I started, if I were to zoom in, you can see that there's no degradation in the quality of graphic because it's mathematical vector lines. It's not using small squares. And that's the main difference between a vector and a bitmap. What's cool about Illustrator, if you go to this image trace feature, once you select your image, your bitmap image, you can image trace it. Now I'm just going to click it. Now what Illustrator tries to do, it's based on the colors, it will try to convert it and make it sharp, clean vector lines. Now, sometimes, depending on the resolution of the image, it's never perfect. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, well, sir, what happened to the colors? Well, there are different results. So if I go to preset, if you said, oh, there was at least three colors, it will try to convert that into a 3-color image. So in this image, there was reds and blacks and grays, but it's going to be tough because the background had a weird faded beige. Let's see the result. Okay, so it's not bad. So what's cool about this is I can expand it. So if you're watching the steps, this is important here. With your object, you want to expand. So now you get to see all the intricate anchor points of the vector. And then you want to ungroup. Okay, this allows you now to select color, okay, based on the shapes. So technically, Illustrator took the photograph and separated the colors based on its color. Now check out this feature. Say I want to get rid of the beige insert. I'm going to click one of the beige inserts. Go to Select, Same, Fill Color. It will select all that same color. Now I have a few options here. I can press Delete and delete it all. I'll press Command Z, go back a step. I can then say, hey, I want this to be lime green. Okay. You can pick and choose whether you want, based on color, what parts you want. Now let's go back. Say I wanted to select Same Fill. and I just wanted to delete it. Okay, I just want a two color. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to grab this, I guess, light gray. Select, same fill color, and I think it's filled, it's got all the shapes. I'm going to press Command X. Does anybody know what Command X does on Macintosh? Yeah, Gene? It cuts. So what happens here, I'm going to press Command X, it's cut those shapes. I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm not just going to press Command V. What would Command V do? Paste. If I do that, that's what happens. It just randomly puts it in the center of the screen. I don't want that. I want on this layer it to be put back in its exact place. So I'm going to go Edit, Paste in place, Shift Command V. But notice it's on this layer, so I can hide it or select it at any time and separate it. So by default, layer 2 is my red. Okay. So if I can hide it, you'll see that it's been separated. So when you do the vinyl cutting, guys, based on your color, and now what's cool about this, I can select this layer and say, you know what, I want that white. And I want this to be yellow. Okay. And your artwork changes dramatically. Okay. So use layers, and it's helpful, and this is where you get marked for inquiry and thinking, is having proper layer organization. Now, as a whole, I can grab, even though it's in separate layers, I can grab them both. And I don't know if you guys see there, but it's telling you that anything on this layer has a red outline, and this one is green. You can change that if you'd like. Okay. If I hold Shift and Alt, Shift keeps it proportionally scaled. Alt just keeps the same center point. So I can scale this up to a width and height that I like. Now, common mistakes, people think, oh yeah, I'm going to use all my square. And then that's great, but when you go to actually put it on and you see it visually, it's nice to have that negative space. So I'm going to press Command R. This gets all your rulers. Click and drag a guideline here. And you can see over here that I'm going to incrementally make this an inch. And that's an inch there. Okay. So when I grab my graphics, and here's another way of selecting things. If you hold Shift and click on this, you can select both. I'll hold Shift and Alt and shrink it down, and it's going to fit within that 1-inch border around my whole image. Okay. Cool. So that's my lesson, guys, using image trace, creating a vector. Now, as you can see, and just one little tip, a more advanced feature, my yellow has all these lines and dots, and these are called anchor points. If you choose, like, that doesn't make sense to have, you can go in and trim and delete. No one's going to care about those small things, so it's probably better. If you want, and this is where like you get full marks. This is not needed, so I can go in with my direct selection tool, hover over, select nothing, hover over top, click on one of the anchor points, and you can click and drag and smooth those out. So the artwork, guys, if you wanted to, I can bring this shape over here. Not saying I would, but you could. You can create less vector points by going to your pen tool and saying delete certain points. So that smooths that out. Or if you want to add a point, say I want to add a point here, then go to direct selection and select it. Okay. You can do whatever you like. It's your artwork. You're just kind of taking and being inspired by some cool artwork on the internet. The idea with this project, guys, is, yeah, design's kind of cool, but really it's production. I want you guys to output the graphics using vinyl cutting methods. All right. Within my next few lessons, you'll get more. I'll introduce you to other tools that help you organize and clean up your artwork. But for most part, guys, you're using your image trace, layers, and voila, that's done for the video.